This review is made possible by Napleton Mazda of Naperville. Napleton Mazda of Naperville offers a wide selection of Mazda products that will fit everyone's lifestyle. Start your new car search off right and visit them online at napervillemazda.com.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2022 Mazda CX-5 Carbon Edition. Up front is a 2.5 liter inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this here CX-5 because this is freshly redesigned for 2022. And so we'll get into that in a little bit. I love the CX-5. I have reviewed plenty of CX-5s. I personally have a CX-5 at home, and I really think that these are great cars, and I'm excited to share the new features with you. But before we get on with the rest of the video, I have a website, zackpradel.com. If you'd like to submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me, you can submit it there on zackpradel.com. You can also buy merchandise and stickers, or you can read my blog. I give behind-the-scenes looks at what I'm filming that week and things like that. Or you can email me at pradelreviews@gmail.com if you'd like to submit your vehicle that way. But let's get back to the CX-5. Now, I want to talk about the new features before we get back to the engine. Well, as you'll notice, it got a exterior update. The headlights and front end is different, the taillights and rear end is different, and so I'm showing some pictures here, some comparison pictures between the 2021 and now the 2022. You can notice some subtle cues and differences and changes in appearance there. Mazda also dropped front-wheel drive from their lineup for the CX-5, so all CX-5s from 2022 on will be all-wheel drive here in America. Now, in other foreign markets, you can still get front-wheel drive, so check your local listings. But here in America, we only get all-wheel drive from this point forward. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the engine. It's a 2.5 liter inline 4, and for 2022, it actually gets a power bump of 1 horsepower. That's right, the 2021 made 186. This makes 187 toe-curling, blood-boiling horsepowers. I'm playing it up a little bit, but I have always thought that the Mazda CX-5 has an adequate amount of power. I love this 2.5 liter. However, there is a turbo offered. If you'd like 250 horsepower out of a turbocharged 2.5 liter, you can also find that as well, but this is not that. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Again, I've always been a fan of this transmission. I think it's fantastic. And Mazda says that they have retuned it for the 2022 model year. I personally, driving it in my experiences, haven't noticed much of a difference. But to me, that's a good thing. That's like going onto Netflix to watch your favorite movie and finding out that they didn't edit it, like they have some other classic films. Last but not least, this is of course all-wheel drive because, like I said, all CX-5s from this point forward are all-wheel drive. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 physical gauges. On the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and on the right, I get a little digital gauge showing me my little CX-5, but I can also change it between my distance till empty and my coolant temperature, my MPG gauge and trip odometers, and things of that nature. I really like this little gauge. However, you can also get digital gauges. I'm showing here, this is a 2021 Grand Touring. So if you want a digital gauge, you can step up to that as well. Moving on to the steering wheel. On the left, I have my volume controls, skip track, info, and phone options. And on the right, I have my radar cruise settings. So all CX-5s, along with having all-wheel drive, also come with adaptive cruise control from Mazda, which is fantastic. Also, all of their Mazda 3s come with this, unless it has a manual transmission, which is just fantastic. Mazda's radar system is awesome. I've put about 42,000 miles on my personal Mazda 3 with this same radar system, and it is just phenomenal. The steering wheel itself is unchanged for 22, but I still like the feeling of it. Feels nice in my hands and is leather wrapped, of course, with red stitching, part of that Carbon Edition package. Off to the left, I have a vent as well as my tailgate opening and off-road mode and lane keep assist on and off. And on the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we do have the Mazda infotainment system. I won't spend too much time on it, but it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integrated into it. The backup camera is pretty good. Like I've been saying, I have a lot of experience with it, and it does everything pretty well. Now, I wish when I turn the wheel, it would turn those lines, but that's okay. One more thing to note about this infotainment system is that it is not touchscreen. Mazda actually has moved away from touchscreens in their cars, where the older generation CX-5s did have a touchscreen. This is now not. Down below that, I have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch. And then I have the climate controls. The climate controls are nice and concise. This is towards a base model. However, it does get heated seats at the lower tiers, which is very, very nice. And of course, dual zone climate and auto climate as well. Then I have a little cubby down at the bottom, nothing significant there. And then the shifter. The shifter is the same shifter you'll find in pretty much every Mazda product with an automatic transmission, ranging from the Miata to the 3 to the CX-30 to the CX-5 to the CX-9, same shifter. I also do have sport mode. So this is a transmission setting. It'll sharpen up your gear changes, hold on to gears a little bit longer to give you that peak performance, but it's nothing too crazy. Then we do have a couple interesting things down below. I have my power parking brake and auto holding brake. Fantastic, love these features. And for the CX-5, the power parking brake is not on by default when you start the car like it is in the Mazda 3. Then I have the control dial for the infotainment system. Fantastic tactile feedback, really clicks into place, very satisfying, and I've always praised Mazda for this. Then to the far right, I have my volume controls. Again, I love the placement of these volume knobs. It's right where my hand naturally rests, and so I've grown accustomed to having the volume right there, and it's really, really nice. Then we do have cup holders, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and of course the cup holders have not been changed since 2021. So like the pre-facelift CX-5, it too fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then I do get a little center console with a 12-volt outlet ran off the battery and 2 USB ins. And then we have the seats. The seats are black leather with red stitching. Love that look. And they are very comfortable. They are heated and they are power. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2022 Mazda CX-5 Carbon Edition, and not too much to report back here. I do have 2 climate control vents. I also get a center console, which is very nice, with 2 2.1 amp USB chargers inside of it, so anyone back here can charge their devices without annoyingly asking the driver. Knee room, great. This is my driving position. I have probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches between my knee and the seat in front of me. Headroom is great. I've spent a lot of time back here as well in CX-5s, and it's always been a very pleasurable experience. Not too many crazy features back here, but that's okay. And I do want to drive home that point of the back seat space being so comfortable, because a lot of people kind of go between the CX-30 or the CX-5. And this is the biggest difference between the CX-5 and the CX-30, in my own opinion. Yes, there's ride height, size, whatever, but this is where it's really different. The CX-30 has a pretty cramped back seat, but this, great. If you're going to use the back seat frequently, highly recommend the CX-5 over the CX-30. Let's go take a quick look at the cargo space, and we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the 2022 CX-5, power tailgate, which is fantastic, really, really nice. And of course, this is a new car, so we have the floor mats nice and preserved back here. I also have these where I can pull, and they will actually release the seat just like that. And I get a 12-volt outlet that runs off the battery. Plenty of cargo space back here. Like I said, we have a CX-5 at home, and we've never had an issue with cargo space, which is just fantastic. And you do have this little trap door down here, and you get a spare tire, which is very, very nice. A lot of companies now just do fix-a-flat or whatever. You actually get a full spare in the CX-5. Come up here, press this button, it beeps, and it comes right down like that. Now we got to talk about the looks, and obviously that's the biggest change here for 2022. First of all, I want to make note of the color. Because this is the Carbon Edition, this comes with the Carbon Edition gray color, and it is fantastic. So please go to your local Mazda dealer, go to Mazda of Naperville, and check out this color in person, because it is just scrumptious. With that being said, I really like the redesign. I like the new headlights. I think the white daytime running lights are really, really fast fascinating to look at, and they look like they're on all the time in the daylight, which is interesting. I like the rear end. I like the moldings. I like the new wheels. Now, the black wheels are part of the carbon package, of course, but I overall like the look of it, and part of this redesign was because Mazda has announced a new SUV. It'll actually be built in Alabama called the CX-50, which is a more off-road oriented SUV. But now this looks a little bit like that, and so you can see they look more like a family, where with the pre-facelift CX-5, it might not have been as obvious. So some styling cues from the CX-50 have been pulled for the new CX-5, which is funny because the new CX-5 has arrived before the CX-50. But now let's get to my final thoughts on the 2022 Mazda CX-5 Carbon Edition. Well, I think this is a fun little update for a car I have come to know and love. I have driven hundreds, if not thousands of miles in CX-5s since this generation started in 2017. And I really do think that these are the best SUVs on the market. I love that they're still 6 speeds and they don't use CVTs. I like the power from the 2.5 liter, albeit one more than last year. I've always liked the looks. I've always liked the technology you can get in here. The infotainment is nice and easy to use. Apple CarPlay is fantastic. And really, this is just an update of a classic. I'm struggling to find words to say. I don't have much else to tell you about the CX-5 besides the fact that these are my favorite, and you should go out and at least test drive one. Every person I've ever picked up in my CX-5 has always said something about it being nicer than they thought. And even my own personal Mazda 3, anytime I tell people, oh yeah, that's a base model, I always get the same reaction. Really? Wow, okay. And that's nice. You don't have to pay $1 million to get a positive reaction out of someone with your car. And I think Mazda does that really, really well. Huge thank you to Mazda of Naperville for letting me take out their Carbon Edition CX-5, brand new for 2022. I pushed this video to come out way before it was supposed to, just because I want to get this out to you guys, because there aren't a lot of these around. I haven't seen any on the roads quite yet, and I'm excited to see them. And that's all thank you to Mazda of Naperville. If you're looking for a new Mazda, they should be your #1 stop. They are right now refinishing their showroom. It looks amazing from the slight glimpses I've gotten. It's really going to be an awesome ownership experience. And like I said, I personally own a Mazda 3 through them. 42,000 miles. I bring it to them for every service. They're awesome. Their staff is great. I always end up chit-chatting and having a conversation with them, which is the sign of a really good dealership. So huge thank you to them. Their information is up on the screen as well as found in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.